Lofton with his team down by 2 to the corner. Caputo! No good! And it's over! St. Louis is going dancing. An unlikely run. Tying his career high. Was it out? And here they come. The student section stores the Cardinals at St. Louis. Possession game. Mitchell. Cassidy. Ellis.
Got to get a shot off. It's got to be a 3.
Ellis. Mitchell for the tie. Got it! Oh!
Runner off the glass, no. Tip battle loose. Evans is absolutely decked by Gant. Evans stays in the game. Oh,
Speaking of leveling,
Conklin leveled Wilcox, and he's down for the count. Driving Evans for Conklin layup. Good whistle foul. Count the basket. You want to play rough? You want to play rough? Let's play.
assume they're not going to foul you. Just take it right to the rim.
Goodwin, 2 for the tie, 3 for the win. Goodwin takes it in, and he got it. We're tied. Overtime, here we come.
Welcome to the House that Rick Built podcast with your hosts, Collin Kessler and Zach Miller. This show is sponsored by Mortgage Partners Group, where mortgage solutions are made simple.
Timeout on the floor, 68-46 St. Louis. This is Billiken basketball.
Welcome back to the House that Rick Built podcast, brought to you by Mortgage Partners Group, where mortgage solutions are made simple. Give Jason a call at 314-422-0649, back with episode number 103. I'm your host, as always, Collin Kessler, joined as usual by Zach Miller. Zach, how you doing?
What's going on? Doing all right. Happy to be on the podcast after I don't think we can understate or overstate how big of a win that is, especially early in the season. So I'm excited to be back and talking.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot to talk about finally. There's a whole heap of things that we can finally get into. First of all, before we go any further, I have to remind you guys again, as we talked about on the last episode, the fundraiser links for Billikens.com, they're up on the Billikens.com page. We will post those out as well. I don't think we've done that yet, but we will post those links out. So please just take a look at that and consider chipping in anything you can. I think we said we were going to do that every episode, and we will continue to do that until they hit that goal. So there's that, first and foremost. Zach, let's get into LSU. Game number 2 of the year, and really maybe the biggest game that was on the schedule for the rest of the year in terms of non-conference, or for the rest of the non-conference season. If you look at Minnesota, they're ranked right now, I think, KenPom 31. But a big game on Saturday, and you go into it without Hassan French or Fred Thatch.
It was scary. I'm not gonna lie. I was MFing kind of karma, if you will, or I don't know what the word for it is, but I was very nervous without Hassan French.
Yeah, and this has led to, I believe now, a second straight game where we've seen Martin Linson come in and really, Zach, give some pretty competitive minutes. He only played 19 in this one, but he's not a problem when he's in the game, really.
Yeah, I don't know if he's not a problem because he's not a problem, or because he has such a great supporting cast around him.
I mean, at least you don't notice him. I guess
that's such a weird. Yeah, that's a weird thing to say as supporting cast, but I guess he had such a strong cast to kind of to close off any weak spots. No, he's played all right. I've been at least content with the way he's played.
Yeah, I think we saw a lot of what he was doing, and I'll get into this in a little bit. Setting screens down low. He doesn't rebound a whole lot, I feel like. I wish I had that number.
No, his rebounding.
His
rebounding
leaves a lot
has
to be
been
desired.
yes, it does.
But And defensively, I don't know. There were points late. There were points late where I felt like we were really missing Hassan French inside, is the best way to put that. I mean, not that Winston was bad necessarily, but then you think about what you could have had, and that's all it is. Early in this game, there was something that you pointed out to me and you sent, and I had in here differently, but talking about the team as a whole, we started off shooting horrendously in this one. Absolutely
it was
ice
scary.
cold.
It
Didn't look good.
We started off without Hassan French, and that gave me a little scary action. And then we started shooting, and I was, here we go. And then a couple things happened, and the game seemed to flip a complete 180.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you put it down with the Watford technical, which we'll get into here in a second as well.
Yep.
One of the things that I thought was key was Gibson Jimerson getting a couple of back-to-back mid-range jumpers, if I remember correctly, that kind of got him jump-started. And really, the point you can take away from all of this is that not only did we start shooting that slow, but you got a guy like Gibson who finishes 4 from 9, which I'm okay. I'm okay with that number.
Yeah, shooters got to keep shooting.
And he hit big baskets late in the game. I mean, there was one, I think I tweeted about this on our account, but there was one in particular where it was a broken play that just kind of a ball that got kicked out to Gibson, maybe like, I don't know, 8 seconds left on the shot clock or something, and he just hoisted a 3 and we made it. And out of a broken play, we got something where, you know, before we would have maybe had to reset because we didn't have shooters.
Is that the second he did the same thing in the SIUE game, didn't he?
Probably, yeah.
He just kind of threw up a Hail Mary that went in. It's kind of crazy, but no. What's really impressive was the slow start, and then you inject Demarius Jacobs into the game, and he comes in and kind of puts a couple baskets in. I believe he hit a jump shot and then got to the lane twice and made baskets that way. And I think that it was a contagious scoring effort. And I think Earl and West Pine Bills said the same thing. But it was really great to see him get going in. I mean, he shot 100% from the field and free throw line for a grand total of 13 points. So outstanding effort from him coming off the bench.
Right. And I think, Zach, to the point that you've made about Demarius Jacobs a couple times on the show, it didn't feel like this was a game where he got started all that fast. It felt like a game where he just kind of, every time he went to the basket, he was making it. And it was one of the more consistent performances, I guess I will say.
It's a bit of a change from what we saw in his freshman season, where he really needed to be in early to kind of be effective. Whereas in this game, he was able to come in off the bench, you know, a little bit later in the game and still was able to take the game over in a way.
Something else to talk about in this one, I felt like the defense was sloppy for, I don't want to say the entirety of the game, but certainly the second half was not probably as good as we would have liked to have seen it, as good as Travis Ford probably wanted it to be. You had Watford, who had 24 points with 6 assists. You had Thomas with 25 points. You had Smart with 18 points. I mean, it's a talented LSU team that was, as we'll get into, pretty highly regarded nationally going into this game. But, Zach, did you see anything out there that stood out to you, that jumped out at you, that was glaringly problematic, or was it just sloppy defense? Because that's what I've felt it as.
I think you're running into guys who score. I mean, LSU has a lot of scorers. They don't play a lot of defense, and what you saw was kind of the Billikens playing to LSU style. The one, I mean, nothing glaring really. Yuri Collins started out a little rough, which I believe he had 2 turnovers in the first 5 minutes, and then didn't have a turnover the rest of the game. That was really nice to see him kind of pick it up. Terrence Hargrove looked kind of out of sorts as well. didn't really look up to the game speed, but no, everybody really, played a nice game, shot the ball well after starting slowly, and obviously the defense didn't, wasn't to the level we come to expect from, Billiken teams under Travis Ford.
I mean, winning a shootout like that is probably not something that anyone would have expected necessarily, but
it's really nice to see, though. It
is.
You take that as a positive that this is a team that can win a shootout with a team that's just outside the top 25. So
right. No, I agree completely. Some other positives to take away as well. Jordan Goodwin, double-double. He even had, a pretty poor shooting night, 5 of 13 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3. Did have 4 assists as well, but another double-double for him. Yuri Collins finished at the rim, I think only once, but it felt like more than that. And maybe I'm just misremembering back to SIUE or something, but it feels like his driving to the basket has been a little bit more secure in that I feel like he has a chance to hit some shots running through the lane, or at least score to the point where if he drives at the basket, there's a legitimate threat there that he might be trying to score rather than just assuming he's going to kick out all the time. So I felt like that was a really good thing to see as well. Let's get in, though, to the person that we now have to talk about because he was the most important piece of this entire game.
I don't want to interrupt Javon, who we're going to talk about. Sorry, didn't mean to spoil it there.
Well,
but I think if we're looking at the box score, and one last point on the box score, I think what you really and I think we brought it up with Hunt Palmer is that you look at LSU's roster, and LSU's roster, again, 4 players go for 30 or more minutes. And their fifth starter played 15. And their 6th man off the bench, Milani Wilkinson, is the only person off the bench to score. And he had 1 point. They had 1 bench point. And I think that is where a team like the Billikens beat a team like LSU. And that's what keeps LSU from going to the next level, and that's what is going to take the Billikens to that level. And I think we've pounded on the Billikens' depth and how impressive it is that we can go 5 guys deep that are, mid to high level D1 players.
I find it interesting you said that because as I was sitting here thinking about it, one of the points that did stand out to me in the first half as well was that the Tigers got into a whole lot of foul trouble right off the bat, not just with the technical foul with Watford, but just period. And the Billikens then began to do that the back end of the first half, and Jordan Goodwin, I think, got 2, with 2 minutes left or something like that. But as I'm watching that happening, there was never once in my mind a moment where I was like, I'm scared because we've got guys that are getting in foul trouble already. It's like, well, we've got another 7 guys that can come in and fill these spots. And it was just a sense of comfort, even for something like that. Guys getting in foul trouble, that's not something that you have comfort with and not happy with necessarily. But again, that speaks to the depth that you were talking about. Now, can we get into Javonte, or you want to talk about something?
Yeah, no. We can go on. He's the man of the hour.
I can't help myself because I've got a lot to say real quick about Javonte, and I'm going to try not to make this too long-winded, Zach. And actually, for the first time, I think maybe in the history of the show, I've fully written this entire thing out to make sure that it is not going to be long-winded and still find a way to be long-winded. But Javonte Perkins showed against LSU that he's probably going to be what makes this team a contender or not a contender on a national scale. I think that what you saw from him shows that he is certainly what makes us the best team in this conference. And I would say, Zach, and here's where you can interject for a second. I don't know that there has been, and you can go back to Larry Hughes. I didn't personally get a chance to see Larry Hughes play. I know numbers and stuff like that, but he's got to be down or up there for one of the most versatile and talented players that's come through this school. No?
Javante, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
And man, I mean, I think that this is what we can look at and say this is our quote unquote NBA guy. Because when you look at what is the difference between SLU and like the Power 5 program schools, and you can get into a lot of really minute details about that, but when you talk about what's on the court and how they're playing, it feels like one of the biggest things we never really had was that guy that could go NBA style one-on-one, get him the basketball at the top of the key. And yeah, exactly. We had Javon, but Javon's scoring wasn't as consistent.
Prolific.
Or yeah, exactly. Javante, he can get to the rim whenever he wants to. And then not only that, we saw him kick out for 6 assists, or was it 5? I think it was 5 assists on Saturday as well, so he can pass effectively even when he is scoring. This is, and I don't think I'm overselling it, but this is the person that makes us a national contender, a top 20, a top 15, top 10 team. And I think we saw an average of what we're going to see from Javante this year, because I think 20 points per game is not unreasonable at all with the way we've been watching him score.
Yeah, I don't think it's unreasonable to I don't want to say expect, but to not be surprised when he goes for 20 every game. The good news is that we have so many options that the reality of it is that he doesn't have to.
Well, and the other nice thing too is about the way in which Travis Ford has built this team. And when you think about it, Javante doesn't have to play defense on anyone's best guy. That's not his role. That's not what he has to do. He's out there at this point to score. You've got Jordan, who's likely going to pick up someone's number one. And if it's a post player, then it's going to Hassan. And then you got Jordan picking up the number one perimeter guy, and so on and so forth. You got Fred Thatcher who can come in and give you defensive minutes. So he's going to be the X factor. I mean, watching that game, I think, was maybe not a fair sample size because it's one game where Javante had, 31 points?
30.
I think it was 31. But I think that's 32. Okay. So I think Javante is the X factor. I think that is literally, and maybe I'm overselling this. Someone can tell me if I am. But I think that's the difference between us being a regularly good St. Louis team and not.
And an elite team.
Right, exactly. I mean, this is where you actually get national respect, national attention. And it was happening on Saturday because if you watched on social media, there were people that were picking up on it. And again, it was the same person, Javante Perkins. Javante Perkins is elite. Yep. I think he got Dick Vitale's Saturday Player of the Day or something.
No, yes, he did. Sorry, yes, I got it backwards for a sec, but yes.
So, I mean, that again, and I'm not trying to overstate or continue to reiterate the same point, but man, that was a special performance in terms of just being able to take over a game like that. I felt like
he's special. There's not much more you can say. He's absolutely an elite college basketball player. He should be on every watch list for the National Player of the Year.
I do believe also I'd like to go back. I think that there was at one point a statement from me that he might be a wooden watch player. I'd like to go back to that. I might have overstated that or I might be lying, but
no, I mean, we are a hyperbolic podcast, I think. I can believe you would have said that. I can absolutely.
Well, that's probably fair. Yeah, watching that, all of a sudden it felt like being a top 10 team and not just kind of like getting there and being like, okay, we made it. And then like, getting right to the end of the season and going to play in the tournament and playing to a round of 32 and losing and being done. And that's, I don't know, maybe that sounds like a negative statement, but this is going to be more than that. I feel like this is going to be, you can get to a Sweet 16, you could get to an Elite 8. And that's assuming that we, see these tournaments happen the way that they have in the past or to any degree of similarity. But man, I'm excited about this team.
Yeah, it seems like he's just one of those players that I don't think we've had. And I saw Larry Hughes. I don't have a great memory of Larry Hughes, but I can't remember a player in SLU history in my lifetime that, and I think someone pointed this out, that I just expect that ball to go in the hoop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that was the way it was the entire second half. And what was it? He had 6 points in the first half, so he had 26 in the second. 26 second half points. I mean, that's unreal.
Well, he had 27 against SIUE in the first half.
Javonte is, again,
he's a special player.
Yeah, going to be a difference maker this year.
And I don't want to, take away for the spotlight from Javonte Perkins, but the two greatest recruiting steals right now are in the nation. The two greatest recruiting steals in the nation are Javonte Perkins and Gibson Jimerson.
And I mean, I would say that Martin Linson was a pretty good pickup as well. Now,
yeah, but I mean,
the nation,
Linson,
I don't know, but that's still a
no.
But it's still a pretty nice pickup.
I mean, who was recruiting Javonte?
I have no idea. I don't even remember.
It doesn't stand out that he was being highly recruited.
No.
Neither does anybody who's recruiting Gibson Jimerson.
No, I agree.
Yeah, it's an incredible pickup. Travis Ford deserves all the credit in the world for bringing both of those guys into the program.
I agree 100%. We also found out something very interesting after the game. On Saturday, Travis Ford telling the media that they were in contact with Notre Dame. Their head coach was Mike Bray. Mike Brayman.
Mike Bray.
Mike Bray put out that they were looking for a game. Notre Dame was looking for a game. They were looking for someone to schedule. Travis Ford said they reached out to him, and Notre Dame didn't want him to play, or didn't want to play.
How does that make you feel as a player when your coach puts out a tweet that's like anytime, anywhere, any place, anybody, and then you find out that a potential top 15 team reaches out and your coaches don't want that smoke? Well,
yeah, but hold on.
He doesn't want that smoke.
We're talking about them as a potential top 15 team because we believe that that's what they are. If you look at the way that we are going to be viewed right now, I believe, and I'll get into it a little bit more later, but right now I think we're at 43 in KenPom. So we're we're a stone's throw away from that and then some.
I think this year specifically, the coaches and the writers poll, the AP poll, are going to be way more indicative. I mean, the AP poll more or less, more so than the coaches poll, will be indicative of how a team is because of the scheduling nonsense that we are going to see the whole year.
Maybe.
So I would follow the AP poll this year.
Well, the AP poll had us preseason with 8 votes to be in the top 25. So we were still.
I see us swapping spots with LSU as the last team potentially receiving votes, maybe backdoor top 25. Obviously, we'll talk about Richmond, who will most likely be in the top 20.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into all that. So anyway, what we got out of all that entire exchange, one was maybe just kind of a call out trying to see if you can just, like, I don't know, bait Notre Dame into playing you still. And two, probably letting literally everyone and anyone that pays attention to basketball that, hey, like, we will play anyone, like, please, we're looking for, quality competition, games that will boost our non-conference schedule, and we are a worthwhile opponent because people are, starting to talk about us. Good sign that there's going to be a lot of change in non-conference.
Talking about us.
Yes, and it shows that there's going to be
Greenberg, John Rothstein is effusive.
John Rothstein has actually, I think he's just, he's already given us the trophy for the tournament. He's already just walked it down to Chaffetz and locked it in the basement.
That's his move, man. He's ready to, like, he's calling it now so that when the Billikens make the Final Four, he can just be like, yeah, like I said, it's kind of like
Now, I will say that's scary,
kind of
though.
like
That makes me nervous. That makes me more nervous.
it's kind of like putting $1 on the Billikens at 1,000 to 1 just to say that you did.
Maybe.
It's very low. It's low risk what he's doing.
I suppose. Anything else that we need to touch on before we move on to the rest of the conference here, Zach?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we've said all we can say about that LSU game. I thought, I thought Linson, if he can put it all together, can be hard to take off the court anytime Hassan isn't out there, or even a compliment to Hassan. I think his finesse game will even if he's out there with Hassan, I think Hassan will take away the big bruiser for the other team, and Linson will be able to maybe do more work than he's able to do now.
Right, so as you heard right there, Seth Greenberg tweeting back and forth, finally got him on the podcast. I don't have to set this up. I don't have to say anything special about it. Without further ado, let's welcome in.
Seth, good morning. Thanks for joining us. How are you?
ESPN college basketball analyst and former college basketball coach Seth Greenberg.
But I might get rid of Lonzo Ball, so forget about bringing in LiAngelo Ball. I mean, Lonzo Ball's not worth his problems.
We're talking about the teams that are in the bubble. What about the teams that are not in the bubble?
There was no communication. It wasn't communication with USA Basketball. There wasn't communication with the NBA Players Association. It was the NCAA putting the cart ahead of the horse.
I mean, he can pass it. He sees plays early. He's got a unbelievable feel for the game. He connects. But, I mean, until he gets a middle game and until he can show that he can actually shoot more than 30% from the three consistently, he's a really good player. And I know he's only 19 years old. And the other question is he more interested in his music than his basketball?
Our next guest to the show spent 22 years as a Division I head coach before he joined ESPN in 2012 doing analysis and game coverage. You probably know him from ESPN's College Gameday by State Farm show. We welcome to the pod, Mr. Seth Greenberg. How are you doing today?
Doing great, guys. How you guys doing? This is a big-time setup you got here. You got the little Billiken over your shoulder right there. I mean, come on now. I mean, we have Billiken shirts. You guys got it all going on.
We're no journalists by any stretch of the imagination. We're definitely we definitely lean towards the fan side of things. I mean, I grew up as a Billiken fan. I know Collin did the same. So we've really kind of bonded over that and kind of created this podcast from there. But thank you so much for joining us. It means the world to us, and we're happy to have you on.
Glad to be here, guys. And like I say, it's great. You guys have a heck of a team. The A-10 is absolutely stacked and loaded. And, I think don't get caught up. Just so before we even get started, don't get caught up mid-major league, high major league, low major league, Power 5, all that stuff. Here's the deal. If you win games, which you guys are doing, then people are going to talk about you. Don't try to define yourself by how other people say what level your league is. Define yourself by how you play and who you beat. So if you continue to beat good teams, which I would suspect that you guys do, then you know what? That's how people are going to perceive you. I said the same thing to the people in the A-10 office yesterday. They're so whacked out about, people talking about you guys as a mid-major, or VCU as a mid-major, or Dayton as a mid-major, or whomever else is a mid-major. Don't worry about it. Just go whoop everyone's rear end and, keep playing ball, man.
We like to use it a little tongue in cheek around here because, we've heard it around St. Louis. St. Louis is the mid-major, blah, blah, blah. And you just kind of have to brush it off and kind of kind of let it roll off your back.
Your league is defined by how you conduct your business.
Yep.
Not your league, your team. So if you know, like there are teams in your league that do conduct their business as mid-majors. That's just the way it is. And then there are teams that conduct their business like high majors. That's just the way it is. But the name of a league or how people perceive a league, it's all semantics and rhetoric. It's real simple. Go kick someone's ass, win games, and all the other stuff takes care of itself. I mean, you know, Gonzaga's in a mid-major league. That league's a mid-major league. They're a high-major program. You can be a high-major program in a mid-major league. And for the A-10, you've got a bunch of programs that run their business, conduct their business like any other team that is trying to pursue excellence.
Yeah, we really enjoy it, and we do like the A-10 a lot. I know a lot of people do get caught up with St. Louis being geographically isolated from the rest of the A-10, but you know, with the way things are, you know, in a modern era with flights, you know, it's not that big of a deal, I don't think. Obviously, we'd love a Midwestern Catholic conference for sure, but I don't see that happening.
Look, you guys will eventually, your goal is to eventually be in the Big East with Dayton. Come on.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, that's your goal. I mean, that's probably your vision. The idea, and I coached at Virginia Tech way before that, and it was kind of a Midwestern division. But, you know, Marquette's not leaving the Big East. So, I mean, what you guys have got to do is you guys have got to – there's a commonality amongst yourselves and Dayton that probably at some point maybe, who knows? I mean, who knows what's going to happen with realignment? Really, realignment's gone in stages. You know, Connecticut going back to the Big East. Why do they go back to the Big East? Because they fit. They fit their geographic footprint. And they fit, obviously, their history. So who knows what's going to happen? Big picture, the bottom line is play a good non-conference schedule. You have a facility to do that. You've got enough name recognition and recent success. And then, you know, see where things, you know, play out in terms of realignment.
I see you got the College Gameday shirt on. Obviously, you know, Billiken fans pine for a day when you guys arrive at Chaffetz Arena and broadcast from center court, and the students are going nuts. But you know, when do you see you guys getting back to College Game Days now, or is that something that's kind of been put off to whenever we can start being back in arenas in full force?
I think it's up in the air. We're not going to, you know, Champions Classic and the Jimmy V, which is two events that we usually are on site. We're not going to be on site for those events. We are going to have a College Game Day show during the Jimmy V games. Right now, there's plans that we will travel to some game day games, obviously without fans. But, you know, again, that can change it. You know, let's face it, we don't control the virus controls us. And, you know, we're going to make decisions. I'm sure you know, the people here at ESPN and Disney will make decisions that are in best interest of all involved. So, you know, I couldn't tell you whether we're going to be going or not going. I think there's plans right now in this moment in time to go. We've got to obviously flatten the curve some. We've got to make sure that it's safe. If we don't flatten the curve and just show some discipline, you know, it's really simple. We got to have multiple plans. We got to have tremendous patience, and we got to have protocol across America. Not just in college athletics, not just in athletics in general. And to do that, we need discipline. I mean, it's really that plain and simple. We need discipline as a country. Wearing your mask, practice social distancing, being respectful, having humanity, and just making good decisions. You know, it's awful to me if they lighten up the restrictions on society, and then you see people hanging out in bars acting like a fool. Well, that's not going to help us flatten the curve or even stay where we are. So what happens? We got to take 2 steps backwards. Now, look, the vaccine could change that. We're here in the middle of December, the end of December. It's going to start going to our first responders, and, you know, hopefully eventually it'll touch more lives in a positive way. But we've got to hang in there for 2 or 3 more months, and we'll see what happens with game day.
So I want to make sure that we get to all the basketball talk we can while we got you here. One of the things primarily I want to start with, because you were just tweeting about it this weekend, Obviously, for the A-10, you had VCU taking on Memphis. That was a great win for VCU. You had SLU beating LSU. That was a big win for SLU, obviously. And then you had the Richmond-Kentucky game. With the rankings coming out today, you obviously see Richmond at 19, SLU sitting, I believe, third, so 28 overall because they're third outside of the top 25 receiving votes. What are your thoughts on that? What did you see this weekend from the A-10 specifically, probably those 2 or 3 teams?
Yeah, so let's start with you guys. I mean, you play without a sound French. You're playing an LSU team that obviously has returning guys. They've got Javonte Smart. They've got Trayvon Watford. They've got a terrific freshman, Cam Thomas. You're playing without one of your best players, and you guys just played. I mean, you took care of the basketball, which is really important. You made free throws, which is really important. Javonte Perkins is a bucket. I mean, Jordan is going to do what he does, but you have other guys that were willing to and the ability to step up and make plays. I thought ball security is really, really important. You guys are going to be aggressive defensively, which you are. There was a physicality to what you were doing. There was a sense of purpose. Like, to me, I like the DNA of your team, especially being you're playing without one of the best rebounders in college basketball. But the identity and the DNA of your team was very evident. The confidence in which they played with was very evident. The poise in which they played with was very evident. And you're going to need that because the league, there's not a lot of rocket share games in the league. We haven't seen St. Bonaventure play, but you know what? St. Bonaventure is a good team, and that's a hard place to go travel to, and it's a hard place to win at. And the Lofton kid he's a fiercely competitive dude. I mean, we haven't seen Dayton. They still got those 3 perimeter guys back. Obviously they lose OB and that's but Jalen Crutcher is a grown blanket man. All right, Riley Chapman can guard anyone on the perimeter. So I mean, they're not going anywhere. They've got a belief in and understanding. I thought URI. You didn't mention URI. I thought URI had a great start to the season. They've got a hardness and a toughness, and they've got a senior guard in Fats Russell, and they've got a style of play that makes you react. They're aggressive on the glass. They don't back down. They make you react to them. So the league is good. The biggest thing is the good teams in the league all have identities. Like when you're going to play those teams, you kind of know what you're going to face. And, it really it's a battle of, it's like anything else. Can you impose your style of play on your opponent? It's hard in your league. And, St. Joe's didn't win games, but they've gotten a little bit better. They get Funk back, obviously. Ryan Daly, he's not only going to have a good year, but, I mean, the dude's going to be one of the all-time, rec league players in the history of basketball. I mean, he's going to drop 30 and then go to the pub and have a pizza and a couple of beers, and he's just going to crush people. So, I mean, the league's good, and the league's competitive. But the thing I like about the league most is identities. You play Bobby McKillop's teams. If you're going to have to get back on defense. You're going to have to communicate on defense because they run all that screening and misdirection stuff. They run all those flat ball screens in transition. I mean, they're hard to play against. So I'm a big fan of the league. You can call the league whatever you want, but I'm a big fan of the league.
You mentioned a DNA and a style of play, but one of the things I've been kind of harping on the Billikens is that really you don't have one thing that you can point out and say, this is exactly what we need to stop. If you say, okay, they're going to play bully ball, we just have to play tough against them. But wait a minute, you have a guy there's so many different parts that fit everywhere that truly puts them over the edge up in that tier with Richmond. Richmond has a bunch of different parts. Do you think am I in a ballpark or am I a little off base?
Well, here's the thing. You guys are a physical team, but yet you shoot the 3. You're a physical team, but you've got a guy that at any moment can go get a bucket in Javonte. You're a physical team, but you're also a team that gets, you also get to the line. You're a physical team, but you have enough athleticism to turn people over. So I mean, that's kind of, your heart here. It's real simple. To me, I always wanted to be, when I coach, a team that other people didn't want to play against. That's your goal as a coach. In other words, if they see your skull, we got St. Louis. Oh shit, we got St. Louis. All right. I mean, like Virginia Tech, we want to be physical. We want to be tough. We want to be a team. Like you saw, our next game's against those guys. Man, those dudes play hard. They make us react to them. They won't back down. They're going to continue to fight. They're going to be up and into us. Whatever it is. It's almost like Richmond. You say Richmond. Well, like Richmond. Oh my goodness, we're gonna have to guard all that spacing. We're gonna have to guard all those back cuts. We're gonna have to guard those dribble handoffs. Oh, by the way, they can turn us over because they got Gilliard and they got Francis and they got Golden, who's sitting at the top of the elbow and dropping dimes, yet can shoot it, yet he can short roll and be a playmaker. VCU, they're back to their identity of making you react to them. So that's why the league is good, because you got a lot of different styles of play. I mean, Davidson plays fast, but they do it differently. And yeah, would I say that St. Louis has a lot of versatility? Yeah, they do have versatility in what they do. But you guys have good players. You have good players, and you got a number of good players. And you got guys that make shots. And you make a defensive mistake, there's a bunch of guys, that can make shots. The Gibson kid, I mean, he shoots. That one he shot in the corner with about 10 minutes to go in the game on the right side in the corner. He got it off in about 2 seconds. I mean, that was crazy how shot ready he was on that shot.
We really talk a lot about how Javonte and Gibson Jimerson are really two of the biggest recruiting steals in the country. And that, like, I mean, you look at who was recruiting him, it was really nobody. I mean, Javonte went to a place called Career Academy here in St. Louis, and then went to Swick over in Illinois. And he didn't have, I mean, he signed with us pretty quickly out of Swick, and Gibson also the same. And I mean, I think those two guys are absolute game breakers that have a future in pro basketball. And I think the NBA, given the state of the NBA and 3-point shooting.
Hold on. Time out a second here now. Hold on a second.
Oh, yeah. I'm getting crazy with you.
Yeah, let's not look. Let's not look.
It's putting me in my place.
I think Javonte has a shot. Here's the deal, guys. The NBA is the most exclusive club in the world. Like, that guy's going to be a pro. No, he's not. I mean, like guys, and like that's the most exclusive club in the world. All right, 60 guys get drafted, 40 of them from America, 20 of them from overseas. Each and every year, guys come in, guys go out. Yeah, I mean, sure you want to have an aspiration, no doubt about it. But like one guy, oh yeah, he's great. First of all, very few guys are great. Like Julius Erving was great. Magic was great. Jordan was great. You know what I mean? LeBron is great. These guys are good players. Like making the league is about a fit. Do you fit? Is there a roster spot? Do you fit? Will you get an opportunity? I mean, there are dudes that are first-round draft choices that are out in 2 years, man.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're really good players. Like you guys have good players, great facilities, great commitment from the institution, a coach that fits, the environment at the institution. Your investment equals your expectation, which is not the same everywhere. You guys have a lot of good things going for you.
Back to the college basketball as a whole. We saw Richmond beat Kentucky. We saw Davidson today take Texas down to the wire. And obviously we saw the Billikens beat LSU. And we saw San Francisco beat Virginia. Do you think this year specifically, the conferences that keep players for 4 years are going to have a bit of a leg up on these bigger programs that are bringing in guys and getting guys in and out quick?
Yeah, it's an advantage. Look, this year because you didn't have the guys in the summer. This year because you don't have court time as much. This year because you lost all that summer workout. So even if you brought a big group of freshmen in, like say Kentucky, they had 14 days of quarantine where those guys were literally on campus and had to stay in their rooms. There's a mental health aspect. How do you deal with adversity? Well, the older you get, the better you are. So these young teams that not as strong as they might get. Basically, Richmond was the tougher team. And I said this at the half of the Richmond Kentucky team. I said, you know what? I said, anyone can do something once. The best are able to do it for a longer period of time. And they do it every time. And that's exactly what happened. Like Kentucky, pretty good defensively in the first half, pretty good shot selection, got the ball inside, took better care of the basketball. Second half, they don't get an assist. They made 21 turnovers. I mean, so having a veteran team, the Wisconsins, veteran team, Iowa, veteran team, Michigan State, veteran team, you guys, more veteran team. Veteran teams surely have a huge advantage. The teams that don't rely on one and done guys, if they return multiple players, have an advantage because they've been together. How do you learn to make good decisions? You make bad ones. Teams that have what I call shared experiences, when things go south, they have more substance to them.
So that's interesting too, because one of the most important players, I think, right now in terms of our young core of guys that came in last year for Travis Ford is a guy by the name of Yuri Collins, someone I'm sure you're well aware of. So what are your thoughts on Yuri Collins? Because we've had the conversations of his turnover rate versus his assist rate and getting into those numbers on a very in-depth level that I don't know is necessarily important or not, especially for a freshman. So what are you seeing from him?
I thought I thought he had good poise. I like that, he can get sped up a little bit, but I liked his presence. I liked his floor game. I liked his vision. I was really impressed with him against LSU. I thought he did a lot of good things. And you can, this time of the year, no scrimmages, no exhibition games, limited time having officials even in practice, limited time in relation to normal practice time. I thought I really liked this game. I thought he had a good presence about him. He had a good feel for the game. He understood what coach wanted and where he wanted to get, when to speed up, when to slow down. He's going to make – look, basketball's not a game of perfect. You're going to make mistakes. Bob Knight's thing is stupid loses more than smart wins, right? What you got to do is grow older and gain more experience. You've got to make fewer stupid plays. I mean, it really comes down to it, especially under pressure. I like his game. I think he's going to be a good player for you guys.
One thing I noted on our last episode is that Yuri Collins turned the ball over twice in the first 10 minutes of that LSU game, and then did not commit another turnover the rest of the game, which I thought spoke to his poise and his ability to make smart plays.
Next play mentality. Good players have a next play mentality.
Obviously, we're riding high on a Billiken hype train right now, which is all great. I mean, I think
you're riding high on a Billiken hype train now, yesterday, tomorrow, and even when they lose too.
Yep,
you might be more like jumping off the keep sharp objects away from you.
The come down is always the most difficult part. What do you see as the trappings for a team like St. Louis University? What do you think could be a roadblock for success this season?
I think
besides coronavirus,
I think the biggest thing for any team right now is, if you get shut down, how do you deal with it? I mean, it's really simple. Multiple plans, patience, and protocol. This will challenge leadership. I say the virus in general will challenge head coaches. How calm will they be in leadership? What will their messaging be? Will it be consistent? What's your locker room going to be like when maybe you do get shut down or a game is canceled, or maybe you lose a game that like we saw Virginia lose to San Francisco, who lost to UMass Lowell. You're going to have roadblocks and detours. It's great where things are going right now. How are you going to deal with adversity? Adversity of competition or adversity of things you have no control over? Like, biggest thing they got to do, control your controllables, which basically don't get caught up in the hype. Or control your controllables. Don't, the virus can't define you. How you react to the virus will define you. All right? Coach, there'll be certain games coach can't play everyone. So, I got a text message from a good friend of mine who's a head coach at a high major school. He said he's already been approached by three players they recruited last year that are freshmen at colleges that aren't happy and are looking to transfer. And he's got one of his own parents that's been basically a pain in the ass of freshman of one of his players. Like, what you guys got to understand, the season is a journey. It's long. And there's stuff that goes on during the course of that journey that now more than ever, there's more static around players. How a team handles the static determines a team's success.
So we have a question here from one of our followers, good friend of the show, West Pine Bills on Twitter. They asked, for a program outside a traditional power conference like SLU is having an elite offense or an elite defense more beneficial in the eyes of the tournament selection committee?
It's who you beat, man. They don't care how you do it. Who you beat, do you have a good win, and make sure you don't have a bad loss. It really comes down to that. I mean, they'll look at the analytics. I mean, some of those guys I don't know what the hell they're looking at anyway. It's almost like when guys get on TV and start doing QBR. Does anyone really know what the freak QBR is? Are you guys football guys?
Not really.
Nah.
So,
we don't got a team.
Do you have any idea what QBR is?
I know it's quarterback rating, but other than that, I couldn't tell you how.
No kidding, Zach. That's really good. How does it equate?
I have no idea.
So, no, I think, look, here it is. You want to eliminate bad losses. You need a couple of good wins, and you need to win a couple of games on the road. That's, that's really what it comes down to.
I think I'll end with this one because I guess this is probably the best way to close out here. For fans of St. Louis basketball that listen to this show, obviously, as you can tell from us, as a small sample size of the many Billikens fans that are out there, we're very excited about this season with good reason. But there is, as I've tried to point out, I think me and Zach have done a good job of early on this season. It's early. We've only seen, a handful of teams, and the competition has been good with LSU. SIUE is all right. You can't get ahead of yourself here. What is a realistic ceiling as it stands right now for what this team can do this year?
Yeah, look, realistic is getting into the NCAA tournament and then being a hard team to play against and prepare for. I mean, that's realistic. I mean, you've got a go-to player. You basically got three guys that can impact the game in a crazy way right now. Obviously, Jordan, Hassan, and Javante. I mean, those three guys can impact the game in a major way. You've got Gibson that stretches the defense. You've got point guards that can get in the lane. So I would say, continue to have that identity of a team that's hard to prepare for. I think once you get in a tournament this year, veteran teams that have a uniqueness to them have a chance. Bills and I were talking the other day, we said, this is a year of all the years that maybe someone besides Gonzaga could make a deep run, And look, everyone in your league now wants to be, who's the next Dayton? Used to be who's the next VC. It's new, right? We could be Dayton, Dayton could be Dayton too. You know what I mean? Richmond could be Dayton. The league is good, and I think that the league will get, the more the league wins games, you need UMass to play a little bit better. Like Trey Mitchell's really good. I mean, he's really good. TJ Wells is really good, but they got to figure that's got to equate to winning games. Like St. Bonaventure is good. If that core group of 6 or 8 teams can win non-conference games, then when you guys beat each other up, it doesn't hurt you. If you guys can't win non-conference games, besides maybe 1 or 2 schools, if you happen to lose to one of those that hasn't won a game of significance, it becomes harder. But you guys, again, in this moment in time, and it's not even December. All right, we've only played 1 weekend. So, but you guys look like an NCAA tournament team. If you're playing with one of your best players and a relentless rebounder in Hassan French. So if you can continue, and this is important for your fans to understand, teams go one way or another. As the season goes along, this is your starting point. All right, this should be your baseline. Now there's a standard. The standard has to be the standard in terms of how hard you play, what kind of teammates you are, how competitive you are, how unselfish you are, and all those things. So that's your standard in terms of your controlling your controllables. As a team, how much better can you get? All right, because where you are right now, if that's where you are in March, no. But if this is your starting point and everything else remains the same, your effort, your attitude, your work ethic, guys buying into roles, guys trusting each other, guys taking good shots, guys remaining competitive. Then all of a sudden you get to here. And that's what Travis's their goal is. I spoke at his first tip-off dinner at the arena about 3-4 years ago, I guess. And I know he has a vision. And all right, so that you have a vision and you have a shared vision with your administration, which is really, really important because their investment is real. So now he's got to convince those guys that LSU is great. All right, that's our expectation. That's who we are. Now, how much better can we get? Because the whole key is not where you are today. The whole key is this is our baseline. How good can we be? And if the players buy into that, then you have a chance to do something really special.
Thank you so much, Seth, for coming on. It was truly an honor and a pleasure to speak with you and get your opinion on the Billikens because we're just a couple of message board morons here. So anytime we get a real basketball mind.
That's like, here's the deal. You guys have great passion. That's what college basketball is all about. Look, the message board thing, a bunch of people that don't know what they don't know, but they love what they do know, and they're going to have an opinion. You know what? That's good. Like someone's going to listen to this and hey, I'm an idiot. Okay, I'm an idiot. Oh, yeah, you got fired. Yeah, I did get fired. I also won 400 games. Oh, you didn't recruit Curry. Well, yeah, I did recruit Curry, really. So, I mean, like everyone's going to have an opinion. But the thing is for you guys to remain and have passion. I mean, like, there's a rich tradition in St. Louis. And it's great that a group of young guys are taking ownership in the history and the tradition, and they want to create something special. So good luck to you guys.
Thank you so much.
Guys, be safe now. Put on your damn masks and practice social distancing so we can get out of this thing together.
I got to get one of those Chris Mooney masks.
Chris Mooney mask's good, except now when you MF the officials, they actually know what you're saying.
All right, thank you once again to Seth Greenberg for taking the time out to come on the show. Didn't have to do it. I know he's got a lot going on. I know his schedule is very busy right now. College basketball is only getting more intense and more busy, and with all the restrictions for COVID-19 and everything else, just makes life a little bit busier and a little bit harder for these guys that are traveling the country to watch basketball. So thank you very much to Seth Greenberg for taking the time out to talk with us and to give us his 2 cents on college basketball, Billikens basketball, and A-10's basketball. I think that there was a little something in there for everyone, both that's Billikens fans from St. Louis or just A-10 or college basketball fans. We got much more coming up around the A-10, preview the rest of the Billikens schedule, and talk about a few other final details on this episode of the House Brick Built, continuing right now. All right, let's move on to around the A-10. On Friday, that would be the last time we would have been recording. I believe we were talking about some games, but not all of them were finals. So let's go through all the finals for Friday. You had St. Joe's losing to Kansas 94-72. You had Belmont.
Put up a hell of a fight.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. We'll talk about St. Joe's a little bit more too here in a second. You had Belmont beating George Mason 77-67. You had St. Peter's beating LaSalle 62-51. You had Richmond beating Morehead State 82-64. You had VCU beating Memphis 70-59. And again, this is a VCU team that I think I said it on the last episode. I think that they are going to be a lot better than what I at least gave them credit for being. And I'm sure that there's other people out there that are listening to this that are probably like me that thought VCU was not going to be good at all. And I've been a little surprised early. On Saturday, you had SLU obviously beating LSU 85-81. You had George Mason over Howard 84-70. Rhode Island over South Florida 84-68 on Sunday. And here's the big ones. We'll start off Rhode Island over South Florida 84-68. I'm sorry. I reread Saturdays. Rhode Island over San Francisco, 74-63. The other big Sunday game was Richmond over number 10 Kentucky, 76-64. And this is a huge statement. What SLU did to LSU was huge for SLU's national recognition. What Richmond did to Kentucky was huge for the entire conference, because then it just completed this kind of crescendoing effect of big wins. You had VCU over Memphis on Friday. You had SLU over LSU on Saturday, Richmond over number 10, a 10, top 10 Kentucky team. It felt like the A-10 had kind of got put the world on notice type of thing.
I put them on the map this season.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny to see what has happened in the last week with the A-10, given that it started out in a poor fashion, if you will. You had the so-called bottom feeders, and unfortunately, throw in Rhode Island. I believe Rhode Island started off 0-2. But it took a while. The first win the conference got was George Mason over Queens, North Carolina, and we were kind of the butt of the joke early on, and it's good to have a team like Richmond, a team like VCU, a team like Rhode Island win those games and kind of remind the nation that this conference is the real deal and is deserving of that fifth spot or that fifth, sixth spot in the conference power rankings.
Yeah, I would agree. So, I think Richmond right now and SLU are the clear top two teams in this conference. You have Rhode Island, who with their wins on Saturday and on Sunday, I believe they evened their record at 2-2. There now are also, Zach, 5 teams that have yet to play in the conference. It's Dayton, Duquesne, Fordham, St. Bonaventure, and UMass.
Will Dayton never win a game? Who knows?
Well, at the time of recording, according to Sully Sully, my good name on Twitter, I'll just go that way. Dayton is working on a game for Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll see if that happens.
Yeah, actually, no, it is going to happen. And I got the inside scoop.
Oh, there we go.
Dayton will play Jay Spoonhour's Eastern Illinois team.
Oh, well, there you go. So Dayton is taking on Eastern Illinois.
A lot of old friends on that staff. That staff and roster. You have Madani Jara in the front court. You have Jay Spoonhour, head coach, and the brand new video coordinator and director of player development. Drum roll, please. Jack Raboyne.
There you go. Look at that. All kinds of friendly faces over there. So with that, then you have Fordham. Their first game of the year is scheduled to be on December 8th. UMass is on December 9th. And St. Bonaventure is on December 15th. So those are the teams that I know games have been scheduled for. And I would say Bonaventure is probably looking for games ahead of that. And I don't know what UMass's first game is scheduled for. I did not see that. Moving on around the A-10, I'm going to talk about St. Joe's real quick because St. Joe's just became the first men's basketball team in the A-10 to have to suspend basketball activities following a positive COVID test, which will mean likely that they will be out for 2 weeks. As Hawks Hill on Twitter posted, this could really cost St. Joe's Seton Hall, which it already has cost St. Joe's Seton Hall likely. Along with it sounded like Villanova, Temple, and Bradley is what they were saying. So 4 really, really big games for St. Joe's that they all lost. Villanova being a number 2 or 3 ranked team. That's a tough drop for St. Joe's. I don't know what chances they had against them, so I don't know what benefit we would have got from St. Joe's playing a team and losing to them, but it is what it is. St. Joe's out for the foreseeable future. Preseason top 25 rankings. Recap of these real quick. LSU was the top vote getter outside of the AP top 25 with 146 votes. Richmond had 40 votes and SLU had 8. Some of the people at the back end of the top 25 that might have a chance to be sliding out of the top 25 would be number 22, UCLA, who lost to San Diego State and barely beat Pepperdine. Pepperdine's not a bad team, though. I think they are at least inside of the top 100 on KenPom. You had number 21, Florida State, has not played. They play their first game on 12/2. You have number 20, Oregon. They have not played. They're not scheduled to play until December 12th. So it stands to reason, I would say, that some of these teams like that haven't played, and especially with a team like Oregon that's not scheduled to play until December 12th, those are some teams that you can reliably expect to probably be bumped out of the rankings because they haven't played. I don't know. We'll see how that works. It'll be weird. The other thing of note would be KenPom. Minnesota, as I said before, is a 31 on KenPom. SLU is sitting at 43, and Richmond is at 51 currently. So that's here around the A10. That's about all I've got for that. We'll move on very quickly, very briefly, real quick. Preview Arkansas Pine Bluff. There's a chance, obviously, as there always is, going to be this season, that there is a game that pops up between now and the time that plays.
And I think Travis has spoken to that. I believe he talked about it after the game, that they're still trying to add a midweek game somewhere.
So we'll see if that happens. But just really quickly, if you're looking ahead to the Arkansas Pine Bluff game, they are an 0-3 team, but they are 0-3 against Marquette, a top 50 KenPom team. They lost to number 7 Wisconsin, who's number 7, and Iowa State, who is a top 50 KenPom team. And they're also playing against Northwestern, who is a top 60 or 70 KenPom team.
Did you mention Marquette as well in there?
Yes, correct. Marquette was a 99-57 loss. Wisconsin was a 92-58 loss. Iowa State was an 80-63 loss. Northwestern,
they give up a lot of points.
Right. And Northwestern, who I don't believe has played a game yet, has a 94.5% win probability against Arkansas Pine Bluff when they play on December the 2nd. The top 3 scorers for Arkansas Pine Bluff, that's such an annoying name, is APB? We'll call it the APB.
Yeah, UAPB.
UAPB.
I want to call this out before I forget. Look at their logo on their website. Do you see anything about their logo? That's
I'm not
fun?
Looking at their website. I can pull up
if you look at the lion logo they have, the lion's mane spells out UAPB.
UAPB, lionsroar.com. Is that what it is?
Yep.
Oh, I do see that.
And that's kind of sweet.
That is interesting. Well done.
Okay, this team has some great names on it. I am all in on this team.
So anyway,
I'm all in on Trevonta Doolittle.
There you go. Zach is excited.
Oh my God, this is the greatest. This is the best. He and his brother Davion Doolittle. I'm here for it.
The Doolittle brothers. So that's Arkansas Pine Bluff. It's Saturday, December the 5th. That's the next game that the Billikens have scheduled.
Who are their leading scorers? We didn't.
I have it as Bell, who had 15 points against Iowa State, 9 against Wisconsin, and 2 against Marquette. Morris, who had 14 against Iowa State, 10 against Wisconsin, and I believe 2 against Marquette. And then Doss, who had 15 points against Iowa State, 16 against Wisconsin, and 27 against Marquette was the game high score, I believe, in all 3.
This would obviously be a crippling a loss if the Billikens don't show up.
This is not. Yeah. Now, again.
And if you want to catch that Northwestern game, it'll be on the Big Ten Network on Wednesday at 8 p.m. And I believe that's Central Time. 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. Not sure whether it's Eastern or Central Time here.
And again, this is a team that has faced some very real competition.
Yeah.
But
they got a hell of a schedule.
They do. And the fact that they've gotten so many of these games in already is actually quite remarkable.
They have. I almost don't want to play them. They've had too much contact with people.
No, well, and they've been up against. I mean, that's going to be.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. They're certainly not going to be overwhelmed because this is just kind of what they've already seen. So
they have. I mean, this is a team that has Baylor on the schedule as well. Before they get into SWAC play,
Yeah, they have somehow
Arkansas State
accrued quite the non-conference schedule.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yep.
So
that's
and I'm hearing that it could be on Fox Sports Midwest.
We'll see. We'll see what happens, I suppose. So that's Arkansas Pine Bluff. If you look at the schedule for the month of December as it stands right now, you have Arkansas Pine Bluff on December the 5th. You have Central Arkansas on December the 8th. You have Evansville on December the 12th. You have Indiana State on the 15th. You have Minnesota on the 20th. You have Kansas City on the 23rd. And then you have Duquesne on December the 30th. The only two teams that are top 100 in KenPom on that list is Minnesota and Duquesne. Duquesne clocks in at 78 as of right now. Yes.
I'm a little surprised Indiana State or
someone can fact check me on that or double check me, but I'm
not second guessing. I'm just surprised.
No. Didn't find anyone else on there. So that's the Billiken schedule as it stands right now for the rest of the season. That is Arkansas Pine Bluff. Going on to women's basketball, they were slated to play Sunday against Mizzou. That did not happen. They were called off because of a positive test, I believe, for the Mizzou women's basketball team.
Yes.
So
let's get that straight. That kind of bugs me, man. Like people on Twitter just they're saying it's a COVID-related issue, and then they don't say whether it's the Mizzou team or the SLU team. You know what I mean? Like, I think Brooke Grimsley, who I took a little issue with and I tweeted and then deleted because I'm a huge wussy. But she, it's just – I just think it needs to be said which team caused the postponement.
Well, I think clearly, as you've seen with all the stuff during the COVID kind of cycle we've been going through, they have to be very cautious about how they release information, and they're obviously not going to be very quick with the trigger on putting out any personal information or any names or any, who's got it, who doesn't have it. We saw that with Hassan French. Heard that from Carter Shapley. He made that choice to put it out there, or else it wouldn't have gotten out.
It's interesting. They did just come off the game against North Alabama. So it would be interesting to go in and see if North Alabama also had to cancel any games.
Yeah. Well, we wait and see.
It looks like they actually played today. Purdue beat that North Alabama team today. So interesting in that regard, honestly. It's kind of going to be a fun little detective game going this season if we keep getting games canceled and just kind of tracing it back,
Yeah. Well, we're right now on the precipice of being very, very, very highly ranked on the men's side of the basketball. On the women's side, they have a chance to be very, very talented and very, very good. It just remains to see what we're going to get out of this team this year. And we have yet to get a game on the schedule. So once not get a game on the schedule, but get a game we can play that's on the schedule.
Yeah. And as it stands right now, that they only have 5 conference games scheduled.
Non-conference, you mean?
Yeah, I'm sorry, non-conference games scheduled. They're supposed to play Memphis on Friday.
Okay, so we'll be watching that and seeing if maybe something else doesn't pop up. Anything else, Zach, that we needed to cover that we didn't?
I do want to a correction, a Guy Phillips Memorial correction. The announcers all weekend were not SLU students. They were, I believe, producers for ESPN 101. And in that regard, I will say that they were not great. I did compliment them for being good for students. And since they're not students, I'm rescinding that compliment in my correction. They were very, very average to below average. And I'm really hoping we get these games on Fox Sports this weekend so we can hear Highmark and Danny Mack.
Yeah, well, we will
Thank you to Bo, my good friend Bo Pamatot, for sending me that correction.
There you go. Well, then, if you don't have anything else, I don't have anything else. Once again, don't forget, check out Billikens.com fundraiser. Check out those links. Make sure you donate.
Hey, and definitely tweet out at National Writers they need to come on our podcast and talk about the Bills, man. That it does help when we are seen as the go-to source for a, I guess a non-slew sponsored media outlet. I'll say that.
Tweet them out. Let them know. It helps us. It makes us look like we have more interest in, or people are interested in us having those guys on, and they feel
that we're more more polished than they are. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, do the legwork for us, guys. We would appreciate that. Thanks.
I mean, hey, we're trying. We're doing the legwork. We just need a little boost.
Sure. No, you're right.
We're out there trying to get these guests, and if anything helps, anything helps.
Yep, we appreciate it all. But I think that's about enough groveling from us. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it as always. Check back next time for more content.